Good morning. This is KELOLAND on the go with all you need to know in news and weather as you start your day.
Thursday was a long day for first responders, snow crews, and people across South Dakota. A public safety alert was sent out urging no travel across the state. This morning, over 500 miles of Interstate 90 is closed from Rapid City all the way to Albert Lea, Minnesota. I-29 is also closed from Sioux Falls to the North Dakota border. The weather also impacting some airports in the state. Sioux Falls closed yesterday and will reopen this evening.
In western KELOLAND, over 100 people found themselves stuck on the interstate near Wall and New Underwood. Because of the blowing snow, whiteout conditions, and large drifts, roads are dangerous to drive on.
One of the problems we have is the county roads will get plowed, and with the weather conditions, with the wind, they're immediately drifting back up. Okay. Guys out on the road have told me this morning that sometimes they have zero visibility and they can drive a little bit. They'll have 100 feet of visibility back to zero visibility.
One Pennington County deputy is being treated for frostbite on his face. While many of us can stay indoors and escape the cold temperatures, first responders still have to be prepared to head out for calls, whether it's for fires, crashes, or medical emergencies.
The daily duties of Sioux Falls Fire Rescue are challenging enough, and the onset of bitterly cold weather only makes that job tougher, whether it's frozen water, wind-driven fires, or keeping crews and victims warm.
If you got to get out, I would just bring some stuff along with. I know in our line of work, we've got to come to work. So I just brought some extra stuff along with some layers, things like that. So if you do have a crash, things like that, you might not be as bad off if you've got some stuff to stay warm with.
They also remind people to keep fire hydrants, sidewalks, and other walkways clear of any snow. So if there is an emergency, they can get around easily.
Authorities in Lincoln County are warning drivers about roads this morning. The sheriff's office posted these pictures to its Facebook page. The first is from Minnesota Avenue between Sioux Falls and Harrisburg.
The second is from the intersection of 469th Avenue and 273rd Street near T. And the third is in the area of 273rd Street and Minnesota Avenue. Officials say county plows are unable to get through some of the drifts. The sheriff's office asked that people don't travel.
Governor Noem has declared a winter storm emergency in South Dakota. The governor has also activated the National Guard to help address the dire needs on Native American reservations.
Noem's office says the Guard's immediate mission will be to haul available firewood from the Black Hills Forest Service to the Rosebud Sioux tribe. Many people living on the reservation are still snowed in from last week's storm and are running out of supplies, including propane to heat their home.
Now let's get a check on our weather, current conditions with meteorologist Brian Karstens. Another cold morning, Brian.
Yep, cold, windy, blizzard conditions. Roads are really in tough shape, too, as we've been mentioning. Look at the red areas in South Dakota. Basically, this is where either roads are no travel advised or they're impassable. There's big sections of central, northwest, even some sections of eastern KELOLAND where that is the case. We're blowing and drifting snow, causing very erratic conditions. The whiteouts are here and there too, and they're just going to continue. A blizzard warning in effect today in our eastern areas especially. We've seen some improvement in the west, so that's good. I think that will be a process that'll be ongoing, but nevertheless, blizzard warnings are still out this morning for central South Dakota, including Pierre and Winter. And for Minnesota and Iowa residents, we have a long way to go. We've got a full day of very strong winds here, and temperatures in the single digits below zero. That's a quick look at weather. We'll get to Futurecast coming up.
Thank you, Brian. If you need to travel in the extreme temperatures, a winter survival kit in your car is a must.
AAA of South Dakota says you should make sure to have a shovel and ice scraper, things to keep you warm, a flashlight with extra batteries, a first aid kit, a portable phone charger, and a supply of food and your medication. And when dangerous wind chills set in, it doesn't take long to get frostbite. The most vulnerable areas include fingertips, cheeks, toes, and ears.
Early signs of frostbite include tingling and pain. If that happens, you should head inside right away and warm the area with warm water. If you notice changes of color in the skin or blisters, you should seek medical attention. The winter weather apparel collected by the Keep KELOLAND Warm Project is coming in handy during this cold snap.
The St. Francis House works with KELOLAND to distribute the gear to nonprofit agencies. They recently donated all new winter weather clothing to an agency that helps young children.
Every time that it gets colder, we always see that more people are in need of just the basic necessities, and that's why it is so critical that we keep donating those coats for Keep KELOLAND Warm, hats, gloves, scarves, all of those warm apparel, because as soon as it comes in, the agencies are putting in requests for more items.
You can drop off donations at the St. Francis House any time of year. They're located at 210 North Sherman Avenue in Sioux Falls. And if you're looking for a place to go or a way to volunteer on Christmas Day, you might want to check out the Union Gospel Mission.
On Sunday, the organization will be hosting its Christmas Day celebration. There'll be 3 different times for a prayer and meal service, along with a toy and clothing distribution.
I'm thinking anywhere up to over 1,000 people. This year, it really hurts with the economy the way it is, and things are more expensive. And you know, people are not back to normal.
You still have time to donate clothing items of all sizes, toys, and food ahead of the distribution. The event times on Sunday are at 11, 1, and 2. If you're in the giving mood, it's not just warm weather gear and food that's needed in KELOLAND. The Heroes Behind the Badges blood drive begins today and runs until January 7th.
Donors are encouraged to designate whether their blood donation is in honor of the Sioux Falls Police or Sioux Falls Fire Rescue. Anyone who donates will receive a gift. And that's a look at some of our top stories.
Now let's get one last look at your weather with meteorologist Brian Karstens. Brian?
All right, let's look at our wind forecast. This is a big determinant on how things are doing as far as the visibility problems. And when we look at the maps, we can already tell western South Dakota getting better. The top winds in Rapid City a little under 30 here early this morning. Rapid now east and up here, you can see the numbers are still higher, but they're not as bad as yesterday. The big problem today, at least in terms of the worst wind, will be in southwest Minnesota and parts of southeast KELOLAND. You can see the winds are consistently gusting into the 40s all day long. So it's just a long day of that. And then finally by tonight, you can see west of the James, it comes down quite a bit. Tomorrow morning, Sioux Falls area, the blizzard warning will expire, and then we'll get into hopefully an improving scenario. But remember, it's slow and steady here on the progress. And a lot of these roadways, because of the drifting going on, that's going to be a process, not right away to get that cleaned up. So be patient on that. I expect that the weather forecast into Saturday night, it's looking chilly and cold, but wind-wise, we're much improved there for Christmas Eve. Now, you look at our wind chill hour by hour, minus 30s and minus 40s are really common. That's all the way through this afternoon. I expect very little change on how it feels in eastern KELOLAND especially. The one determinant in the west is the wind going down, so that's much better. The wind chill factor on Saturday, well, it's nice to see some minus 20s. I know that's still very cold, but it is slowly improving, so stay up to date on the latest timelines on that as that affects things into New Year or Christmas Eve night and also into Christmas Day. Now, I am going to tell you, getting into Christmas Day, we got another front on the move that's going to be changing up the weather again. We're going to have a fast-moving clipper with some snow in northeast South Dakota, pretty good bet of at least an inch or more. Watertown and Aberdeen, maybe Sioux Falls picks up some snow, but then there's a swath of wind that comes in Sunday night and very early Monday morning. It's not going to last a long time, but it could easily kick up to 40 to 60. It's a lot of wind in a short amount of time, and we'll have to continue to watch to see what that does as it may impact some travel again. It's a little early on some of the specifics there, but I'm sure we'll be talking more about that later today. There's your chance of an inch of snow on Christmas. Kind of nice to have a little snow on Christmas Day as long as it's not overly heavy. And it looks like those in southwest Minnesota and areas of Watertown and Aberdeen. Pretty good bet that you'll at least get a little bit of that in the forecast. Cold today, single digits below zero. Those northwest winds are still very gusty. Tonight, low temperature 15 below in Mitchell, 20 below zero in Pierre. And tomorrow, well, slow improvement. The west getting better. Custer's up to 31. That's nice. And then we get into the 30s at the end of the forecast. So there is some light at the end of the tunnel here as we regroup into next week. Moderating temperatures across the board. Don't forget about that chance of snow in Aberdeen on Sunday. That's 70% chances. I also expect there will be snow in the air in Pierre, and it could even be mixed with a little bit of freezing drizzle or a light mix at some point there. There's a little indicator of that popping up, and I do want to at least verbally mention that. Rapid City also a little light snow, but more importantly a strong wind coming back Sunday night. Check out the details online at KETHLELAND.com.